Hello and welcome to the second episode of The Cutting Edge.
Be sure to like and subscribe to get notified every time we release a new episode.
First up, we have a story on siblings bonding over wrestling. Then we'll put the spotlight on a teacher who's a fan favorite.
And we'll check in with the Computer Science Academy. Next up, we'll check in on the world of esports, professional athletes or not.
To wrap things up, Mike and Adam found a teacher who is recycling in an unusual way.
This is The Cutting Edge.
Wrestling in the final bout of the evening at 145 pounds for Warren Hill's Reese Manfredi. For the Vikings, Mike Mosier.
I'm focused. I've been watching for the omens. I've been listening to everything you said. It's been running through my head, locked and loaded. I got the feeling that you know it.
3 minutes and 35
Yeah, I've only
seconds.
just begun. I won't stop until it's done, till you're broken.
There have been many talented wrestlers throughout Voorhees history. With the last Fernandez brother graduating, let's take a look at the new wrestling brothers on the scene, the Mosier brothers. Jack Mosier was not available for an interview, but let's hear a little bit from Mike Mosier.
Before we moved here, we were on the same youth team our entire lives, and then I got into high school, so we were separated for a year, but now, since he's a freshman, we're back on the same team. Awesome to have a built-in buddy in the room, and then when we go home, we can talk about it, and our life is filled with wrestling because we're always on the mat together and always talking about it and always planning the next thing and making each other better. This year, my brother and I both have well over a dozen wins. For him, it's a very good record as a freshman. I'm really excited to see what he turns into, and I'm excited to get to the postseason and see how far I can go. There's been many famous sets of brothers that have gone through the school. The Brienza brothers in the 90s, they have over 200 wins combined amongst them. The Fernandez brothers, obviously Lewis is two-time state champion. Both of his other brothers, Scott and Mike, are both state qualifiers. So to be another set of brothers, we're excited to see what we can do and maybe put our names among those greats.
We're excited to see how the rest of the Mosier brothers' career goes. For VHSTV, I'm Lexi Kribitz.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I was just reading this book recommended to me by Mr. Davis. You don't know who Mr. Davis is? Well, let me show you. This is Mr. Davis.
Mr. Davis, the best.
My favorite part about teaching is the interactions that I have with my students.
I like Mr. Davis's class because Mr. Davis is a fun teacher. He makes learning more interesting rather than just talking about English. It's talking about life too.
Try to be myself and go up there and be authentic and hope that it works.
He is a personable person. My other English teachers kind of weren't. I can joke around with him. The other ones were a lot more strict.
Why I got into my teaching career is that I always knew that I wanted to teach something. Back in second grade, I wanted to teach math actually, and I always like helping people. I like learning, so that's why I chose it.
Mr. Davis does a really good job at explaining it and making sure you understand the material.
When someone who's really been struggling gets it finally, that's really what keeps me motivated and keeps me going every day. I'd like to have high standards for the class and think that I'd really push the people at the very top to improve themselves regardless of where they're at, and the people who need that improvement kind of keep on chugging along and keeping up. I think that all my students should be impressed with the work that they complete by the end of the year because there's such a huge difference between that first essay and that last essay, and I think that it's amazing that you guys are able to do that just on a consistent basis.
So that was Mr. Davis, one of the English teachers here at Voorhees High School. He will continue to do his best to better his students' high school experiences as he continues on teaching. For VHSTV, I'm Evan, and you're watching The Cutting Edge.
My name is Robert Van Horn, and I am doing a quick announcement, or like public service announcement, on the Computer Science and Applied Engineering Academy, because a lot of students in Voorhees don't really know about it. All right, on to the video.
When I know how it feels to be deprived.
I decided to come here because of the Computer Science Academy, because there were a lot of opportunities, my father said, when he saw those little pamphlets that they gave out, you know, at that presentation where they sort of explain what the academies are. I brought one of those pamphlets home, and he was like, yes, this is the place to go.
I've always been inclined to do technological things. I guess is the best way I can describe it. I've worked on computers, radios. I've just always found it fascinating, and I thought this was a great opportunity.
I decided to do the Computer Science Academy because I thought that in the future it would be able to get me a job or get me closer to getting a job, and it just seemed like an interesting thing to do.
So one of my teachers, they said, you're going to get a lot of opportunities, and if you are interested in them, you should take it. And this, the Computer Science Academy is one of those opportunities I was interested in, so I went with my gut and came here.
Well, I was going to do the Biomedical Academy. I hate blood, why I decided not to do it, but I've always been interested in computer science and how it's worked since I was little. When we used to have a computer room because those used to be a thing, but I used to play on the computer with my dad, and I always thought it was really interesting how they work.
My name is Justin Montgomery. I've been teaching computer science for 11 years. The reasons I went into computer science education is because I saw a great need for it in the education and industrial spaces, and I really like how it's project-based and gives students skills that are going to be in demand for a very long time across many professions. I am very excited to be partnering with Hunterdon County Vocational School District with our Hunterdon County Computer Science and Applied Engineering Academy hosted here at Voorhees. I think that I have the autonomy that I like at this point in my career that allows me to bring my vision for computer science education and its engineering applications to bear for the benefit of the students and the community. And I also have a really good team that supports the work that I do here. Think of computer science as a creative tool that you can use to solve any problem that's going on in the world today, and will give you the skill set that will allow you to pursue whatever career you want. Even if it's not exactly computer science, it will be a tool that will help you do your job better and to feel more fulfilling doing it.
Kids go through a lot to accomplish their dreams, whether it be a computer scientist, a robotic engineer, a game designer, and more. I don't know. I'm still kind of figuring out the kinks, but whatever.
Oh hey, didn't see you there. So today's topic, we're going to be going over whether or not esports players should make as much money as professional sports players. But I know what you're thinking, how could that correlate to a student's choices? Well, students tend to play a lot of video games, although they do like to be out playing sports. Will this change their focus on playing sports or video games? Let's find out.
Let's walk right into this. So I'm here with Gavin Corley, my very good buddy, and we're here to talk about, do you think esports players should make as much as professional athletes?
No, I do not.
Why do you think that, sir?
I think that because professional athletes play physical sports and they put their bodies on the line and they train very hard and put lots of work in, whereas esports players just sit there and play the game.
All right. And do you think kids focus more on getting better at video games than working hard and getting better at sports here at school?
No, I do not.
Why do you think that, sir?
I think that because when people find a sport that they like, they typically try harder in it and they try to work harder to improve themselves. Whereas in high school, video games is more of just a recreational activity and no one really looks at it as a pro sport.
I'm here with Jess Castro, and we're here to talk about, do you think esports players should make as much as professional athletes?
I do.
Why?
because esports players and athletes both use a lot of mental capacity to accomplish their tasks, I guess. Even though actual athletes are, doing more physical, sometimes esports can be kind of physical depending, and, put a lot of strain on a person, and also with traveling. And
Hey, thanks for watching the interviews. We'll see you next time.
Today we will be looking at what Mrs. Exley does to help the homeless in her class.
So I make sleeping mats for the homeless. It all starts with environmentally trying to keep plastic out of the ocean. So I ask students to bring these in. Everybody has a drawer of plastic bags or a closet or whatever. Most of us just use it for our dogs, but we wanted to try and use it a little better. So kids bring in the bags, and then we flatten them. Then we fold them up to make them nice and straight. Then we cut off the ends. Then once they're like this, we cut them into squares to tie them together. And then after many, many bags, it becomes this long string of slip knots, and it's called Plarn plastic yarn. And then we use our crochet hooks, we crochet them. And they get distributed to homeless people all over Warren County.
Miss Exley told us that her and a group of little old ladies at the bottom of a church are the ones who started it all. Now some days she'll get a whole class to help make sleeping bags for the homeless, which really speeds up the process, she said.
To make a sleeping mat for the homeless. And it's 4 feet by 6 feet, and it is surprisingly comfortable.
And that wraps up this episode of The Cutting Edge.
Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode.